Hello, everyone. Welcome back to to Mo. Hold on. Welcome back. We are here. We have more Rainmaker coming your way. We have our round two matchup. We have this will be a lot of teas. Tidy Tidings versus Turbo Torben. I am Topic, joined by Omazen. And Oma, how you doing today?
I am doing pretty good myself. Had a great time commentating the last set we just did opening up the tournament, and I'm excited to see what happens with this very tea-themed next set we have going on with the Tiny Tidings versus the Turbo Torbens. And Nader, gotta love that. Um, so big shoutouts to you. But yeah, we're gonna be starting this next setup on Rainmaker Hagglefish, and that's quite a interesting map mode.
I mean, you have the most vanilla map, or the most vanilla map, most basic map, the most blah map in the game, mixed with possibly one of the most fickle modes in the game. So, very interesting. I do think the left and right paths are kind of distinct. They can be easily switched between, but I think I'm interested in see how both of these teams play this.
Yeah, like I mean, arguably, you really even have like three paths. You could go for like the right ramp play with the switchback. You could go for the cut jump right off the podium, or you could be a little bit of a crazy person and take the left path, which is in nowhere land. And I personally haven't seen that really ever done before. It's maybe happened once when I was playing in a set and they completely threw us off, and we might have actually lost it because of that. But if we see that today, um, I'll be cheering on whoever has the confidence to pull that off.
I mean, hey, in these lower level, these skilled cap tourneys, anything works. So,
Yeah, it
they
does.
they might decide, hey, the left path is a funny path. Let's just run it down left and see what happens.
Absolutely. So, moving to this next set here, I'm going to take a moment to look at some of the team players we have moving in. So, Tiny Tidings, we got quite a few like low ink gamma players. Um, Also, on the side of Turbo Torben, looking at some of their more recent stats, we have actually some Division 8 players as well. So, kind of a similar case as last time. We're seeing maybe, generally speaking, a few more lower level players in the grand scheme of things. But as we saw last set, that doesn't really matter most of the time when you're both the Ludi season was quite a while ago. Obviously, taking those stats into consideration maybe isn't the most accurate, but it does give us an idea of what to expect. And I think really looking here, we might be seeing some close games once again.
I mean, if you said both of these teams are like gamma beta bracket,
Yeah,
like commoners, right?
yeah, basically from the looks of it so far.
I mean, yeah, in that case, they probably, been in low ink a dozen or so times, gotten that experience. So, especially in like lower level, I do think that that just having that experience, just being able to be like, hey, we're gonna go out, we're just gonna do every single tourney possible, and we're gonna do as well as we can, and just learning from it is like the best thing that these teams can really do.
Yeah, I think I would agree. And like grinding those tournaments when you're in lower level is important. Everyone and like really just everyone wants to get those low rank alpha placements. They want to be at the top of the top, and as we can see, both teams are getting kind of close to that marker here with stuff like all for one gold bracket, low rank alpha once again. Just those typically like those are the Division 5 teams, people who are looking to edge out of it if at all possible, and get their bans in place. Uh, so looking forward to this match, I think this may be a great opportunity for either side to prove that they have what it takes to get some of those higher placements.
I mean, and also I think going into like Minnow Cup here, it just gives you a nice check of the competition. It gets to like help you stack up your like where you stand with everyone else, because I believe low ink is Div 4 and under, right?
No, it's actually Div 5 and under typically, although you're not necessarily low ink banned just based off of the Ludi like Division 5 placement in of itself.
Okay. So yeah, since Ludi is typically Div 5 and Minnow Cup is also, I believe, Div 5 to
Yeah.
6 and under, right?
Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah, so I think this gives you a fair sense of where you stand, where you need to improve, what teams might give you trouble. Because if I remember correctly, a lot of these teams that do like Minnow Cup, do All for One, do um, maybe even like Little Squid League, they will typically go to low ink to try to get that low level ban.
Yeah, for sure. So this offers a great opportunity to see if they have what it takes for those higher levels. But yeah, I want to maybe we should talk a little bit more about the upcoming map mode again here. So you were commenting earlier that this is probably one of the most basic ones. Any more comments on that in particular?
Oh yeah, it's vanilla, it's bland, it's blah, it's just like the salt and pepper of seasonings of Splatoon 3 maps. It's, in my opinion, it's the final destination of Splatoon 3 maps. It's just like it's there, it's inoffensive. Uh there's not a whole lot of elevation changes other than the ramps. It's kind of just like it in the own in how do I say, in the terms of just layout, it's just like Arowana Mall, but like less dynamic is the best way I could
Yeah.
put it.
No, Arawata Mall, like being a Splatoon 1 map originally, like they had the benefit of having a bit more spice involved in it too, even though when it reappeared in Splatoon 2, it became a bit more tame, I think, overall, everything considered. But yeah, I think I would agree. This is definitely one of the more vanilla maps, but doesn't mean that you can't see some interesting plays necessarily happen on it either. Something that I discovered recently is that when you're in mid, and let's say like you're a mid line, like a stamper or a blaster, you can actually hop on a couple blocks around where those taller like wall stacks are in the mid,
Mm,
and you can actually hit like pretty deep into the transparent tent.
yeah.
So where snipers typically like to stake out their first spot. So I'm kind of curious to see if we'll see anyone try to pull off such a maneuver heading into this set. It's something I haven't personally really tried out too much, but just the mere concept of being able to make, you know, that pencil player that's trying to just wall you out completely, or maybe a similar backline like an Explo, just take up so much space and back up their team and make them need to back up without necessarily the help of a Bazooka is very appealing.
Yeah, and I think that's why we really need maps like this, maps like vanilla maps like Hagglefish, because it just allows both teams to kind of feel each other out. Because I think we both know that this is usually game number one, right? Maybe it's like a game three here or there,
Mhm.
but this is usually, as I like to call it, like a tester map where you don't really know what your opponent's gonna bring, so you want to go somewhere safe. Because in all realities, a lot of weapons work really well on this map. So like it's kind of like that neutral situation, no high elevation, no really long line of sight areas other than the tent. So I think it's just a very balanced map.
Agreed, and we're about to see a lot of these theories come into fruition, perhaps, as we move into the next match with Tidings and Turbo Torben. So let's take a look at what they both have to bring here. We're gonna have, let's see, we have Frill inside of Turbo Torben, and that's gonna be them in the navy with yellow being Tidings.
These teenagers are gonna kill me. But yeah, on the side of Tidings, we are gonna have a Octobrush Nouveau with, I believe, Beacon Rain, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's a beacon brush. So definitely some tomfoolery will be made there. As we see, unfortunately, that beacon from them broken, and 2 down already on the side of, I believe, Tiny Tidings.
I mean, yeah. Also, on the side of Turbo Torben, God, the TOs hate us. With the paintbrush, I want to say that's the missile one, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think that's right, yes. And already, like, early on, we saw Turbo Torben do a great job of getting some players down the side of Tiny Tidings. And we see the Carbon, they just keep throwing themselves. Pognator doing a great job of taking space quick. And, man, even though we see Turbo Torben doing a great job of getting those picks really quick, like, Tidings is still staying up, even if they have that one player, and they're making it work.
I mean, yeah, this is a bunch of fights, a bunch of trades going back and forth, and look at that. Turbo Torben has yet to go. Even though they had that really strong opening, that they had a lot of momentum on their side, they have yet to break through that first checkpoint. So that's really good for Tidy Tidings because now you don't really have to go far. It looks like they are gonna go for that left side. Frill here on the paintbrush is gonna space them out. It's actually gonna get the kill because I always forget that Paintbrush has deceptively long range.
It really does. All it takes is after that first swing or two, they're just going ham, and they're going to take up so much space. They're going to have so much kill power, too. Like, you can't really confidently fight that too easily, but already we see, earlier on we were talking about that it would be really funny if either team tried to take that left odd route, and so far that's all we've seen both sides actually try to push. I want to highlight that really quickly, too, so definitely some more interesting plays here happening from both sides that really bode well with that T theming we have going on.
I mean, I think the left push kind of attracts these more or attracts these like newer teams or newer or lower level teams because it's very out of the way. So best I could put it. You will have to
Yes.
basically divest all like resources towards the side and have someone go for like a mid flank, and maybe that'll work. But I
Yeah.
think that also kind of hinders them because again, you're all the way off to the side, so you have to spend a lot of members just making sure you protect the Rainmaker. And so far, for Tidy Tidings, they're gonna be able to extend their lead a little bit further. Getting up the ramp though, the Carbon going in, getting the Rainmaker, like you said, the Carbon just throwing themselves into the fire and somehow getting something out of it.
Yeah, they did fortunately get something out of it for their team, but an interesting Trizuka placement from our friends here. But yeah, Rainmaker once again in the hands of, I believe, Turbo Torben, and they're going to have to try to get some points back on the leaderboard as Tidy Tidings had a great play. They're getting more of a traditional push set in play, and we're back in a neutral state once again with both sides having like 1 or 2 players down.
I mean, yeah, I think both of these teams are showing the effectiveness of why Cooler is so so um overrepresented. That's an unfortunate pick there,
Very
but
unfortunate.
it's because all the teams love to fight. That's another bad unfortunate pick there, but teams love to fight, so being able to negate that first death and just come back almost instantly is very huge. And now if you're Tidy Tidings, you have an opportunity to just hold, because with about a minute left, you don't really have to put yourself in danger because Turbo Torben has to still break through their first checkpoint. Pogonators are going to go down to the Rainmaker pop. That's not what you want to see. And we do see TS on the side there. Papazuka not able to find anything from it though.
Yeah, I'm sure that the Turbo Torben gamers are like, that's not very Pog that Pognator went down, because they've been relying on them a lot to try to get those pushes down. And unfortunately for Turbo Torben, they do go down on that attempt, and they're actually going to get wiped out even.
Oh
So
no.
15 seconds left on the board. That Rainmaker is all the way back at the checkpoint, other side of the map basically for them. And we might be seeing it already being game.
I mean, that might as well be Pognator going for the flank. They're going to get it reset, though. I think it's a second a bit too late. And Tidy Tidings is going to hold on and win game one in a very close game.
Oh, certainly. That was extremely close. I think what both teams could have maybe done a slightly more a better job of doing, maybe, even though they did have some amazing plays on both sides, was trying to have a bit more of a consistent flank going on when they were pushing. When we saw those left pushes go on earlier, which is, as you were saying earlier, very out of the way, I think having maybe like one person go right, like that Carbon player, for instance, or maybe like the Paintbrush even, like that would have been a great way of just getting an insane pincer down and providing an excellent opportunity to even maybe get a KO from the left, which is something I mean, you don't even see left plays that often, and you certainly don't see left KOs happen as much either.
I mean, I think that's also why I think the left side is so underutilized because if you send a flank, you're gonna have to send a flank through the middle, right? That's the
Yeah,
really only way you can go. So if the other team has a backliner per se, you're not getting around that
you're
because
not.
you're running straight at them. You're putting your head through drywall basically to run straight at them, and they're gonna spot you because they're gonna hear the other pieces of drywall falling down. So they're gonna be able to spot you relatively easily. So I think that's why the middle route is a lot more attractive because you have an actual flank route being that left side, being able to basically force everyone to look right while have somebody look while have at least one person go left. But enough talking about the past. Let's talk about the present as we hop into game number 2 on Manta, Maria, Tidings in yellow, Turbo, Torben in blue or purple. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so Tidings bringing out a custom Jet Squelcher, I believe. So interesting adjustment there with an NZAP, I believe, also now coming out on the side of Tidings. So we're seeing a bit more overall stability paint-wise from Tidings, whereas Turbo Torben's looking to maybe get some more range clearly out, which may come in handy for certain street plays, but yeah, already we see the Carbon player from Turbo Torben trying to make a flank there into the bunker, but ultimately going down, unfortunately. The Bucket player trying to make a play against Jet Squelcher, getting a nasty kind of flick there going on. And, wow, once again, trades back and forth, but unfortunately for Turbo Torben, a lot of those trades are going to be to their detriment.
I mean, yeah, so far this is very dangerous for Turbo Torben because Brush here with the rain on your street, you got to move. And so far, they're doing a really good job of just keeping them spread out. Poganator gonna go down, unfortunately. Looks like Ella's gonna take it, go a little bit further, get a little bit closer to the goal, down to 53 on your first push. But Frill here is gonna try to go for a flank or kind of take over their bunker because, as a lot of players know, the bunkers are super important for just in general, since you have access to plat, you have access to mid, you have access to the opponent bunker. So whether you're pushing or defending, once the Rainmaker is of course your number 1, but your number 2 goal should be taking control of both bunkers as soon as possible.
Agreed. That bunker is going to be key here as we continue to see the match go on. And Tidings is in a really great spot here. They got 42 remaining on the board, and Turbo Torben, like, we have a little over 3 minutes left in the game. They can absolutely make something still happen, and we see them trying to make a play, maybe being a little too antsy, but they do have quite a bit of pressure already in their street with 2 down on both sides respectively, another going down where basically only the shot is up from the side of Tidings, and this is their chance to get a lead.
That's it. That's the lead. Poland's gonna
And they get on
jump
the
it
ground.
down. Yup, that what a change of momentum for Turbo Torben getting the Rainmaker on that or on the jump on that little
Yeah.
underneath area. That's super big because I think once you get down there, that's the 20. At this point, it's maybe a little bit too early, but that is close to game winning if they can just play their cards right.
Agreed. And as we see here, we're once again in a neutral state, and now it's going to be on the side of Tidings to see if they can make something happen there. This is a map that's pretty notorious for trying, like, once you get past that jump, you can either just sprint and go if you happen to have that wipeout, but otherwise, it's really difficult to move forward. and you being able to move forward is going to be reliant upon you being able to stay up too. And when you have this Octo Brush, that might be to the benefit actually of Tidy Tidings with those beacons if they can get solid placements in their hands.
Yep, we do see the brush doing a little bit of sunbathing, having a good time, getting their sunscreen together before going out and looking for a fight. Instead, they're deciding to back out, and so they don't go down to the Jet Squelcher. A quick 1v1 in mid going to end up with a trade. And so far, if you are Turbo Torben, they're doing a great job of making sure Tidy Tidings cannot get anything going. Yes, Chris is going to end up on bunker, but going to get forced out. Neither team has been able, ever since their first pushes, has been able to get a solid hold, a solid control. As now Tidy Tidings is sending everyone at bunker. They're both gonna go down. Poganator with a double kill to basically save their bunker and possibly save a really strong push from Tidy Tidings.
Yeah, that Carbon player doing a great job of holding down the pressure once again. They were struggling just a little bit earlier in the match, but they seem to have all their bearings down. And the Paintbrush here trying to continue that momentum. The Carbon was putting out as well with the missiles. And Tidy Tidings, once again, kind of has most of mid under their belt. But if you saw earlier, what they seem to be struggling the most again overall was that custom Jet Squelcher pick, actually, among all things, with them being able to take over so much range in mid. And as long as they're up and allowed to have solid momentum on their side where they're not being terribly challenged, they can just take in so much range and so much control. But as I say that, Tidy Tidings doing a great job of taking over the street. They have a couple players up in there. Bucket on the right flanking as well, with the Rainmaker looking to attempt a right push. And yeah, two down on the side of Turbo Torben already.
Yeah, that's gonna be scary because now the Jet Squelcher, you see exactly what they're doing. They're sitting up on that mast area to just dissuade anybody from coming forward. Looks like Turbo Torben is gonna jump it off, leaving only overtime, so about a minute left. Unfortunate double kill to a bomb on the side of Turbo Torben. That's a wipeout. No one's in the way. Clear out the red carpet for the Rainmaker, and that will be Tidy Tidings taking game number 2. That was too many T's in that sentence.
I agree. Taking game 2, Tidings, congrats to you, and that's going to be the set win in their hands as well, but we are doing play all 3, so we'll see one more match. But I did want to talk about kind of that last moment we saw there too. So Turbo Torben was in quite the pickle there, like around the 5-second mark of the match time remaining, where they had to make the difficult choice of, okay, we can just try to guard the Rainmaker loosely right here. We can just go ahead for the reset, which they ultimately did, or we can grab it and try to run back to maybe a slightly more inconvenient spot for Tidy Tidings push back at us. And honestly, if I were them, even though it's such a split-second decision, I feel like the best play for them would have been to maybe just try to grab and back up immediately into like maybe with the corners on the tall ramp that's right out of spawn, perhaps, where Tidy Tidings would have had to really have an aggressive push in if they wanted to even get the Rainmaker pop it all from there and take it back. So honestly, I think that reset might have been the game difference there for Turbo Torben. Obviously, again, it's so difficult to make those split-second decisions. So once again, like that match showing just how close these two teams are, and in a way, like also this kind of newer generation of upper low level talent as well, like, and how like certain strategies clash. Like we saw that custom Jet Squelcher doing a great job of holding down paid for Turbo Torben, and just the Carbon and Paintbrush also doing a great job respectively at like maintaining control, getting picks they needed. And I think we'll continue to see a lot of similar things moving into our next match, which is going to be Rainmaker on Undertow Spillway.
I mean, we're gonna hop right into it, but I think this is, I think this is the best, or one of the best, at least top 3 Rainmaker map in the game. It's just so varied. You can really switch between the paths so well, as Tidy Tidings going with a very interesting weapon changes, going with the not 79 with splashdown, the Neo Machine, actually no, double splashdown for Tidy Tidings. very, very interesting. And then on the side of Turbo Torben, the
Oh,
ZF Charger, but that's a great opening for Tidy Tidings and a terrible opening for Turbo Torben.
unfortunately, yes, and we see them carrying that momentum, taking solid team fights together. Turbo Torben once again down many players, and it's just a paintbrush up right off spawn, and they're already taking the right checkpoint. Like, Tidy Tidings here, they're like, no, we're gonna maximize this. We're not gonna let this go down just yet. We do see some trades go down, but it's still 2-2 with Tidy Tidings already back up once again, and wow, okay, just there's a lot of chaos happening right here, right now.
I mean, yeah, Tidy Tidings, they got the Rainmaker in a very awkward spot. Ella's forced to drop it and potentially switch over to that left side. Looks like they're going to get a really clutch kill there. And now, if you're Tidy Tidings, this left side is free real estate until the members of Turbo Torben get there. But you got to watch out for the Grates. Yup, the Grates are super, super deadly if you don't clear those out first. And maybe Turbo Torben has an opportunity to breathe after a very, very quick first punch from Tidy Tidings.
Yeah, agreed. And looking here, like, oh, Tidy Tidings, I think maybe getting a taste of their own medicine just a little bit with this pushback in the mid from Turbo Torben as they keep going roughly about 2 down, although to their credit, also getting some valuable trades in there as well. The Blaster player trying to set up towards the right, trying to make sure that Turbo Torben can't necessarily get a similar push going, and we're seeing both sides getting maybe a little bit antsy, like Tidy Tidings wanting to keep that 3-0 potential in their hands, while Turbo Torben's like, no, we want to get a point on the board. We're not out of this yet.
I mean, getting antsy, it might be what Turbo Torben's doing as they're gonna get wiped out. And now Tidy Tidings, the momentum is still on their side. They're gonna get one down in their favor, possibly two. Frill gonna go down, but the fall off shots by the nut. Unfortunately, Pog is gonna get the flank going. Unfortunately, he's gonna get caught out by himself. He's gonna get found out by the members of Tidy Tidings. Is not gonna make it out of there. And so far, if you're a Tidy Tidings, yes, you want to push, of course. You want to get a more secure lead, but you can just keep it in this corner and just slowly march up and not really have to worry about a whole lot, because if history is something to go off of, they really don't have that much to worry about if they can get back and defend their base relatively quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And as we saw there, they did unfortunately have to make the kind of more desperate decision of getting a few more points on the board due to those strikes coming out from the T-Tech player from Turbo Torben. But, oh, clutch Zuka coming out from Tidy Tidings, taking out the Rainmaker and another player. And we're already back in essentially a neutral state with both sides, as Tidy Tidings is starting to come back up, but Turbo Torben is really like, okay, no, this is where we're not letting this go down yet. We're going to try to do everything we can. We're going to play together. We're going to pop our specials and see what we can make happen, and it's not over yet.
I mean, yeah, they might have fallen down once, twice, but they're not giving up. They're getting right back up, right back on their feet. They're gonna break that first checkpoint, but now they're kind of stuck in this little chokehold situation because you got the Blaster on Snipe just shooting there. You got the not being there. This is just super, super bad for Turbo Torben because they don't have a lot of space to work with. By the time they let the Rainmaker, or they popped the Rainmaker, they were locked into that right side. They could not move from that right side. They were like, hey, we're going to make this work or we're all going to go down. And unfortunately for them, they got wiped out, and now a nice kill there with the splashdown, and
yeah.
now Tidy Tidings is already back in almost complete control with another two up man advantage.
Yeah, for sure. And unfortunately on that push, the strikes coming out maybe just a bit late to really maximize the value of the push. So we're already at under 30 seconds left in the match. A few trades going down, hopefully to the value of Turbo Torben as they're looking to make something happen here. But they're also all still trying to break out their base still, as Tidy Tidings is doing an excellent job of keeping them back, making sure they can't get that Rainmaker grab. And we see this charger, just trying to make one last desperate play happen.
I mean, yeah, 3, 2, 1. They're gonna get the overtime, but with no one there to really contest the Rainmaker, that will be game. And with that, that will be Tidings total takeover of Turbo Torben.
Yeah, and congrats to Tidings, getting that 3-0 ultimately on this set, and proving that, like, hey, we have the skills to get, like, these plays out. We can do stuff that's a little bit silly, like, that right push they were able to be really aggressive with. They were able to move forward and keep that momentum going. That's something that's really difficult for quite a few teams to do, and they did it really excellently too. So, congrats to you, and also congrats to Turbo Torben for having a great showing as well. They really had um, that Manta Maria Rainmaker map almost down for them with that overtime push from Tidings just barely edging them out of that win. But yeah, great set overall.
I mean, yeah, this set could have been 2-1. You know, those split-second decisions seem right in the moment, but everyone knows 2020 vision is clear. So looking back on it, that might have been the wrong decision. But uh, whatever they think, with the past is the past. They gotta look forward, and with a great set number two or round number two done, we're gonna take a short break before we get back with round three of Minnow Cup Rainmaker. So stay right there. We got more coming to you.